My name is Jason. I'm here from Experiences in Channeling, and I decided to come on today just to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff that's been going on. And yeah, so nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. So Experiences in Channeling is just that. This is it's been my experiences in channeling. So yeah, so let's begin. So first of all, behind me you see my site. If you're interested, please check it out. It's there, and I offer sessions and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, so also have a book of channeling that I've done that's below with Kathy Liu, with illustrations by Kathy Liu. So please check that out if you're interested. All right, so let's begin. So what I wanted to talk about, hold on a second. I think I might have to turn off my heater. I think, hold on, or open the window. Hold on, I'm going to open the window. So please bear with me 1 second. 1 second here, hold on. Let me just, how do I do this thing? All right, hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Okay, I'm back. All right. So here's what I wanted to talk about today. So first of all, I'm talking about the journey of being a light worker. So what does being a light worker mean, right? There's a lot to it, and it's a process, and just like anything is a process, and like the creative process, something that I've struggled with a lot, and I don't struggle with as much as I used to. Because you realize it's a process. You realize that it's not, for example, Rome wasn't built in a day, and that there's just different phases of learning as you go along. And so this is how I'm going to phrase this whole thing. I'm just going to start out like this. So I'm going to talk about the journey, how I got to where I am now, and how different things that I've been learning along the way. And so, yeah, join me on a journey. Here we go. So it started out, right? So when I was younger, I had these like experiences at night when these beings would like come into my room and kind of take me somewhere every night, and I would have like a sleep paralysis, but more than a sleep paralysis, they would paralyze me, and then they would levitate me up a bit, and then they wouldn't carry me out, they would just kind of like send me out. I would just be floating out of my room into wherever. I don't remember where they took me. And then just these feelings of tingling on my head. I feel tinglings. So people's emotions I pick up as energy on the top of my head, and all these different things that I had no one to talk to about. That just were there, and so for a long time I never talked about it. And so, so I can sense things. I can sense emotions. I can sense feelings. I can sense. Sensing is one of the biggest things that I have. This kind of sensing the emotions or the energies of rooms or of things, of situations, and so that's the most natural one. But then in addition to that, this speaking channeling, I had assumed that I had just started it about 5 years ago. But what I've been realizing is that it's been with me, ever since I can remember. I've been, I just go off onto, these, I just speak, and then I'm not there when I start speaking. And it's not like a full, like, what's the word? It's not like I'm just like in another place, but it's just the words that are coming out of my mouth are not things that I've ever thought about, that I didn't even, and after I'm speaking them, I forget what I was just talking about. I don't know what that was. And so I'm just kind of coming into realization that this thing has been with me for a long time. And I'd been doing some channeling on it, and I got some confirmation on that. And that, yeah. So I think it was one of the gifts that I was given as a kid, but I think I was intentionally not supposed to remember that I had it, and I sort of did. So there's that. And then another concept is that, I live in Japan, and there's a lot of temples and shrines. There's more temples and shrines here than in anywhere around the world per capita. And so it's very easy to sense the energies. And so when I would go to these shrines, I used to go all the time just because I was like, oh, this peaceful energy, it's so peaceful here. But what I started realizing was that peaceful energy, after I would leave that peaceful energy, I'd feel really drained. And so what I realized is that peaceful energy was the same feeling that, for example, when a mosquito bites you, they put a little bit of a numbing agent into your skin, and so it just makes you a little bit euphoric for a few seconds, so that you're not really aware of the fact that this thing is sucking your blood, right? But then afterwards, it starts to get itchy, and you feel, you don't feel drained, but yeah, but it's the same sort of thing. So a lot of these places that I had assumed are like peaceful and yeah, lovely and everything like that are actually just places where lower beings feed on our energy, which was a shocking thing to discover. So this is the topic for today. Is this experience, though, as a light worker, you realize that the world isn't just all light, and it can be quite shocking. And I think that's what the world itself is going through at this moment, in all of the things that are being revealed in the news and your social media, all of this stuff that's been coming out the past few years. Is that we're realizing that it isn't just, that we're living in a yin and yang universe, and that there is the other side, and there's a lot of stuff there that's quite shocking. And so, yeah, so this concept of time loops. So you'll go into a place and you'll feel, well, it feels really nostalgic here. There's something really nice about this place. It's a time loop. It's been trapped within a time loop in order to keep regenerating that energy. So that's, for example. So, all right. So this is what I'm getting to. I'm getting further and further. Okay, toward, or closer and closer. So I channeled a book a few years ago. It's called The Dragon Book, and I was channeling Tiamat, of all people, or of all beings. And Tiamat is equivalent to, in the Bible, the Leviathan, right? And that was quite interesting for me now. But she was working on the dark side, basically. But she came over to the light, and she revealed a lot of different things to me about how they work and what they're doing. And a lot of the stuff that's coming out now is just, of course, it's not of course, but a lot of the stuff that's coming out now is confirming what she had been talking about. And so, but what I wanted to bring this up, so I got to all this information. I started channeling. I found that the places that I thought were peaceful were actually places where your energy is being stolen from you. And then finally, so I really got really interested in this idea of Tartaria, and these beautiful old, what are they called? The noble architectures. These beautiful old buildings that just are all over the place, and they're so whimsical and they're so beautiful. And I got into that romantic idea of that. It's so wonderful. And I would travel around everywhere I'd go. I'd look for the buildings, look for like hints of maybe this building was that, but then I started doing some channeling about it, and I found, and also I took a course on this as well, on symbolism, and just realizing that, oh my goodness, there's a little bit more to this. There's a lot more to this than meets the eye, and that's the part I think. So this is what I'm getting closer and closer to the point. There's a lot more to this than meets the eye. And so, for example, there is a building in my my town, right, that I know is one of these old buildings. And I finally went on a tour of the building. They only offer a tour about once a month, and it's usually a day that I have to work or I have something else. It's like the middle of the week usually, and so you can't go. But fortunately, I had time, and I went, and it was really interesting. But what I was surprised by is that they didn't actually talk about the real history of the building, where it actually came from. That was the part they left out. And I thought that was, it's surprising to me. I was expecting them to really talk about it, but realizing that, yeah, that a lot of this stuff is still very much protected, that a lot of people do know about what, these old buildings are, but there's a concerted effort to stop us from learning about it, and to make people talking about this stuff to seem silly. They're just going off in this tangent, but they don't really know what's really going on. And that's how many things over the past few years have been brushed off, but a lot of them have come true. So and as my guides have said, this is the time where everything is revealed. So hopefully this will be revealed as well. But if it's not, since it's not revealed in a public way, I did some remote viewing on the building itself, and I discovered a lot of stuff underneath the building, and it was shocking and not shocking at the same time. I really didn't want to see what I saw, but I did see it, and it was there. And but it really relates to this Leviathan idea, and so yeah. So, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So, okay. So here we go. And so I talked to my guides today. Okay, so I saw this stuff there, and now I know exactly what this building is. So this building, let me just show you here. I found, here's an old, where we have it. Let's see if I have a good. Where did they? Oh, here it is. Here's some. Let's see if so these are old. So this was an old exhibition in my town. There was an old exhibition, and they built all these buildings. So if you see in the back, this castle back here, the castle is still here, of course, because the castles, that looks like Japanese culture. But a lot of these buildings, they are like Renaissance style buildings, and one of the buildings even looks like the White House. And that doesn't really fit in with Japanese, history, right? Why did they have a White House here? Why do they have, for example, this building here? If you look how big it is, you see the people here. So considering that, historically they say Japanese people at this time were a little bit shorter. So let's say even if they are 4 feet or just 5 feet. Okay, so one of these columns here is about 5 feet. And so if you look at this, this is about 25 feet tall. I don't know why they needed to build a building that tall at that time. But anyway, that's besides the point. But so anyway, so this one of the I think, and I still can't figure out which building it is from here. It's one of the I think this might be it. No, it's not that one. There's one of the buildings, and it has very large columns, three large columns. Here it is. So this is the building here. This is the only building that still exists. This one on the right, and you see these 3 archways here, and and then you see this fountain here, and this is by design. They build them this way by design. This is what I learned from Jesse Seltzber's lessons, and so there is meaning behind it. You could check out her stuff to find out. I don't want to go too in depth about that, but there is a very strong meaning there, and so I looked underneath all of this and I found something. But in addition to that, if you look, these columns here, see how big they are, these archways? Again, they're about 25 feet or more tall. But now the building itself is now much shorter. So they're only about maybe 10 feet tall, double or less than that. And so, and another thing about the building is that I think this part of the building, so I don't know if you can see this, but half the building is basically submerged now. And after this exhibition, they had an exhibition in 1910. After this exhibition, and I'm sure you guys have heard about this already before, but they just destroyed all the buildings. They just said, "Oh, this is just a temporary building, and we're going to destroy them," for whatever reason, right? But for some reason, this one building was left over, but just the bottom part, just up to here, was left over. And they rebuilt the top part out of it in 1936. So when I went to the tour, they talked about from 1936, and that's fine. So I guess that's the idea. They consider this previous time that it doesn't exist. But so I just looked underneath and I found some stuff there, and I was, guides like, what am I supposed to do? How do I clear this? What am I supposed to do? And so this is the whole point of my big long speech here, is that they said at the moment you're just supposed to learn. You're supposed to just understand, to look, to know what's going on. That's what they told me. It's not about, it's not about running out and doing all this kind of things. It's not about, starting a war in that sense. It's just about knowing. You're kind of gathering information. And the reason that you're gathering information is because once you're called into to do something, you need to be there, and you need to have you need to have dealt with all of the issues, all of the fear, all of the different things, all of your, my righteous indignation. I have to deal with all that before I go in, because if I have any of that, then I'm not going to be able to be fully present. And so I'm just learning. And oh, hey, Kathy. So yeah, so I'm just learning, like, and I think all of us are. In addition to with everything that's going on in the world, we're just learning. Like when I found out about all this stuff that's coming up a few years ago, it was surprising, shocking, and just terrifying. And what do I do? And then you need to meditate and come to terms with it in your heart before you do anything. Because if you're just in that fear state, you will lose. And there's not even a fight, but you will lose. If you fight from fear, you lose, because that is what you're fighting. You're fighting fear, and so that was what they were saying basically. And but one of the things, so that's the one aspect. So as light workers, we are learning all of this stuff so that so here's the idea. We're learning this stuff so that we can transmute it. We can figure it out. We can figure out a way of understanding how this happens, rather than just going completely and utterly insane and saying, well, how can the world be so dark? We are the ones that can say, wait, hold on a second. I'm going to try to come to terms with this and try to understand this spiritually. If we understand this from a third dimensional level, it's crazy, right? But if we say that we're not just human beings, we are spirit. We come down here into this space, and it's like a virtual reality sort of thing. I'm going to close my window now because it's cold. Hold on. Okay, so, but yeah, so we come down here, but we're not bodies. We're God. We're part of God. We are an extension of God, of God's love. And so if we look at it that way, and if we understand that we're all playing roles down here, we're all just playing these roles, and and that it is about the experiences. And that doesn't say that any of this is good or bad. Well, yeah, I think that's the stuff, this dark stuff is dark and it's bad. But it's to say that we try to understand that we're in this yin and yang kind of illusion, and trying to understand that as well, and trying to forgive, which is the most difficult thing. Because what we're being called to do is to transcend the yin and yang, right? But that's not to say that to ignore it. That was the New Age movement. That was the New Age movement trying to screw us over, so that the way to ascend is to ignore all the darkness. Just let it go. It's like, no, the dark is still there, and they're gonna get you if you ignore it. But it's just like a parasite or a virus. It's not about ignoring it. It's about being so strong, being so convicted in who you are, being in love so strong that none of this stuff can affect you in that way. So it's not about ignoring it. It's about knowing that it's there, but not being afraid of it, and understanding that you have more power than all of this stuff. That's the most important thing. It's about understanding where the power lies. The power lies in love. That love is what controls everything. Love is behind everything. So kind of understanding that. And it's a very difficult thing to even talk about now, because I can hear people saying, well, that's not love. That's not love. That's not love. And you're right. It doesn't look like love on the surface, but in the grand scheme of things, like if we look at everything, we are being provided with all these different experiences on this planet to understand. And we're also, as light workers, what we're here to do, though, is we're here to, first of all, to deal with all of this stuff. Like, we're kind of on the forefront in the sense that we pick up a lot of this stuff before the rest of the whole collective picks up on it. And so we pick up on it, and then we kind of deal with it, learn about it, and then we upload that into the mass consciousness, so that when other people are presented with these things, it's not going to ruin their world. They're already going to have a method of understanding and dealing with this. Because it's necessary to have a spiritual process when you are looking into these things. Otherwise, it's just insanity. So I wanted to talk about that. So there's that. So I wanted to say, yeah, I don't want to go too much into it. Yeah, I'm just going to go with that. So yeah, I won't go here. Okay, we're here. So what I'm going to do now, though, is go into this. So for me, what's always been my way of dealing with all of this stuff is the Course in Miracles. This has been something that's really saved me from not losing it, but just from not understanding what everything is for. Okay, so what is a miracle? I want to share what is a miracle, but I wanted to share the first thing. Where is it here? Okay, here it is. So this is something I thought was it's really useful. So this is lesson 333. Forgiveness ends the dream of conflict here. So here it is. Conflict must be resolved. It cannot be evaded, set aside, denied, disguised, seen somewhere else, called by another name, or hidden by deceit of any kind if it would be escaped. It must be seen exactly as it is, where it is thought to be, in the reality which has been given it, and with the purpose that the mind accorded it. For only then are its defenses lifted, and the truth can shine upon it as it disappears. Okay? So this is my kind of motto when I'm looking at all of this stuff. It's we shine the light into it. It's not that we ignore it. We have to see it exactly as it is and understand it. That and then once we understand, once we see what it really is, the conflict is over. And I think that's what we're trying to do, or at least that's one of my missions here is these places. For example, that place I just showed you, that is it's used as a concert hall now, and it's like a big concert hall. Many of the most famous people from all over the world, all the big rock acts, and in the 1900s it was all the opera acts, they were all there. And it's just like most concert halls, if they've not been charged back to neutral, they are places where these lower beings feed. It's an energetic, it's a battery. It's like the Matrix. And so people they jump up and down and they get all excited. Wow, that energy is, so the building itself is tuned so that all that energy is taken and it's given to whatever beings that are feeding on that energy, the being, like kind of lower beings, basically beings that any being that needs to feed on energy is not very high. Any being that needs anything from a human is not very high. Any being that is asking for a sacrifice is not something you should be dealing with, or asking you for anything, right? But anyway, that's what this building is there for. And it's not, of course, no one really knows that, but that's what it's there for. And it's a harvesting spot. And so I just wanted to talk about this. So but so for me, it's just understanding that I was attracted to that building for the first part because I thought, oh, what a romantic building, what a beautiful old building, and these beautiful old trees are all around. It's from another era. It just feels so nice and light, and then realizing like, wait, oh no, don't take that dream away from me too. This whole like disillusionment where all of these things that you thought were something wonderful, it's like, oh no, and this is where you start to lose hope in everything. Like, what? Well, is there anything good? Is there any hope in the world? And that when you get to that point where the answer is yes, the hope's inside you. Every time you look at it outside, you're going to lose it, and that's what keeps happening to me. I look at it, oh, maybe this. It's like, no, it's not there. The hope has never been there. The hope is inside you. You bring the light. So in this, for example, forgiveness ends the dream of conflict here. You are ending the conflict by being you, by bringing the love of God into this situation. And that's what we're doing. We're changing all of these stories of sadness, of fear, of anger, into stories of love. So this building here, so whatever it is, I mean, as I said, all these different things that it is, but I'm turning it into a building of light. I'm turning into a building of hope. It doesn't have, so we're not throwing the baby out with the, so what are we're not throwing the, anyway, can't get the phrase back right. But yeah, we're not just destroying all the old structures. We're saying that there's something there. We can change this into love. We can transmute this energy. And that's the Lightworker journey. The journey of the Lightworker is seeing all this stuff and saying, no. No more darkness here. We're turning this into a love story. This thing is going to be a love story. This thing is going to generate so much love for everyone around the world. And we're not, so that's the thing too. I'm not going to tune this thing to like love, pure love. I'm going to tune it to neutrality so that everyone who comes in, they can use their free will to create love, and that's what it's about. And so that's what we're doing, and it's just turning everything into a love story. This is a lovely building, and it's generating light now. All of those stories of sadness and fear, of anger, of regret, of being trapped are over, and that's what the Lightworker is doing, and that's what we're here to do with everything that we see, because we have that power, and we know that we're seeing these things. And so that's, I'm getting on my high horse here. But yeah, but I think it's really important. I feel very strongly about this, and so very passionate about this. So, and let's see, what's the other one I wanted to? Yeah, I'll just go to this one. So, a miracle. What is a miracle? So this Course in Miracles talks a lot about perception, right? And perception is what, for example, I had different perceptions about this building. First, when I went there, I thought, oh, it's just this building. And then over time, I thought, oh, this is kind of a romantic building. And then when the Tartaria information came, I thought, oh, this is a Tartarian building. And then I channeled a lot about that. And then I realized, like, oh my goodness, maybe this isn't such a good thing. Maybe this building is, so it's all been my perception. The building is there. It hasn't changed, but I have changed. My perception continues to change about this. But with the perception, it also is how you see it emotionally. What is, so the building has no power over you. You are projecting all of these things onto the building, onto your life, onto everything that you see. And this is the point. This is really important with the Course in Miracles, is that you have the power to change the world, because you are creating the world that you see. Everything that you see is affected by your perception. Is this a good situation? Is this a bad situation? Am I in a good situation or a bad situation? It's up to you. What do you think? And that's the answer. And so what are you going to think? Are you going to see everything from the lens of fear? Are you going to see everything from the lens of love? How are you going to look at it? And it's your choice. But if you look at everything from the lens of love and forgiveness, then your world will start to open up for you, and your heart will feel so much lighter. But if you look from the lens of fear, there will be fear everywhere you go, and everything will nothing will seem to work the way it should. But if you understand that there is a God, that there is love on this planet, and that we are part of that, we are extending that love, that everything has love in it, even if you don't see it. Everything has the yin and the yang in it. That's the nature of this place. And so if you can see that, if you can try to understand that, that's the key. And that's, I think, for me, I think, and this is perception as well, because the Course in Miracles is a different thing for everyone. Everyone's got it. So I might be saying these things, and people might be saying, no, that's not what it's about. No, that's fine. But it's just what it's about to you, because this is not a religion. This is just, for me, it's just a meditation practice, I don't want to join any Course in Miracles groups, or, I just want to, I just want to have my experience with Course in Miracles, and everyone has a different, and that's fine. There isn't like a right way of looking at it. Another thing about the Course in Miracles I think is interesting is, so the bottom here, 1975, that was my birth year. I was born then. So, and they have their 50th anniversary. And so it's my 50th anniversary as well, because I've been here for 50 years as well. So anyway, I think that's interesting. But let me just go into, so a miracle. A miracle is a correction. It does not create nor really change at all. It merely looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it sees is false. It undoes the error, but does not attempt to go beyond perception, nor exceed the function of forgiveness. Thus, it stays within time's limits, yet it paves the way for the return of timelessness and love's awakening, for fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings. Okay, so it looks on devastation, right? But it looks on the perception. So it takes away the perception of devastation and just says, just look at it and just try to understand what it is. It's not trying to change anything. It's just changing your perception. A miracle contains the gifted grace, for it is given and received as one. Thus, it illustrates the law of truth. The world does not obey because it fails entirely to understand its ways. So the world says that if you give, you lose, right? And so you have to take to get. But the Course in Miracles, or the law of love, the law of truth, is that when you give, you receive. Everything that you give, you're giving yourself. How does that work? Because you're all one. So everything that you give, you're giving yourself, because that person that you're giving it to is you. And it might not come, as they say, in the same way that, for example, you give something to someone, it might not come back in the same way to you, but you'll find that maybe a few days later, something happens, something wonderful happens to you, and that's you're being given you're receiving what you gave, but it just comes back in a different form, because the form doesn't matter, because the form is the illusion. A miracle inverts perception, which was upside down before, and thus it ends the strange distortions that were manifest. Now is perception open to the truth. Forgiveness is the home of miracles. The eyes of Christ deliver them to all they look upon in mercy and in love. So eyes of Christ means the eyes of forgiveness, looking at everything with, Christed eyes, and that is just looking at everything as forgiveness. Everything is love. Everything is love. And so, and I like this one too. The miracle is taken first on faith, because to ask for it implies the mind has been made ready to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. Yet faith will bring its witnesses to show that it rested on is really there. And thus the miracle will justify your faith in it and show it rested on a world more real than what you saw before, a world redeemed from what you thought was there. So, and I love this idea, a world redeemed, right? Because that's the whole idea, that once you start to be kind of miraculously minded, then the world starts to shift and change for you. I know it did for me. My world is so much different from when I started about 5-6 years ago. I mean, the world itself has changed, but my perception of my world, of everything around me, has changed so much, and I find so much more peace than I ever had before. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that you are made of love, and that you are the hope of the world. And so you being in hope, and you forgiving, and trying to be in love, trying to be, and I don't mean like romantic love, but that's fine as well. But I mean, be in love, be the love that you are, be the hope that you want to see in the world, because by doing that, you're bringing the hope into the world. And so that's what I wanted to share today. I think I've kind of gone on too long, so I'm just going to stop there. And I hope you guys are hopeful. And hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow or soon. I don't know if I'm going to come on tomorrow. But Kathy, thanks for joining in. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, so thanks guys. Ciao for now.